there, I wanted to show you guys this technique today, just about doing an etching. It's just one little section of what you can do with your etching. So many people ask me, they love the way these look. So many people ask me how I can get this look, where it just looks very random, and it is very random. You know, it's this look of kind of opening up a hollow form that I love. You know, it's opening up a hollow form, making it ragged, making it look used, making it look ancient. But for me, it also is when I create prayer boxes, or when I create hollow forms that look like these that I'll be showing you today. When I create these, you know, I just seal them in. I'm not decorating that much because I'm gonna actually get them etched out randomly, and then we'll see what we get. It's a nice surprise. Sometimes it's really fun in your work when you're going and you just get random pieces, you know. So this is that case. It's really this kind of organic look that you're gonna just get something open. When I am building these pieces, and the reason I like them for this month is that I consider them prayer boxes, or you can put intentions inside. So to me, that's what these hollow forms are all about. So charging them up with a power, and then I love the idea of just kind of etching them out very kind of randomly and letting your intentions just leak out as you wear them, fill you with power, strength, love, any of that. So that's what this week is going to be about. So I want to tell you guys, I am going to show you the product. You always want to put gloves on when you're working with this type of chemical. In the past, I have accidentally touched this type of chemical before that etches silver, and it actually has turned my hands black, but you don't even know, because you don't even really realize your hands are black until you step out into the sun. So what happens, this is an sterling silver etchant mordant. You can get this from Rio Grande, you can get it from Halstead, Pepe Tools, anywhere, but you know, this has to come from a jeweler store. You can get copper etching over the internet. It's a lot easier. But this was used for photography way back in the darkroom. If anyone is a photographer, you probably have used this product before. And you know, it really is this product where it helps develop your film. So what happens is, if you spill this on your hands, you don't see it, which is what happened to me. You go out in the sun and it gets darker and darker and darker. And it really is a stain on your skin. So you really have to rub those flakes off, you know, to get rid of it. And as they shed off. So really it's a stain on your skin. But this is the mordant that you can get. I get a pint. I store mine in this container right here. This is how it comes in. This actually, if I left this out in the sun, it just would turn blue and it would be expired before I even got to use that. So I keep it really, you know, in here, and I keep it in a dark cabinet, and this one has probably lasted me 3 years. There was a period of time where I just didn't have time to do etching. Well, now I'm in here and I'm just doing a lot of these random shapes with this line that I'm building, and it's really fun to do. And if you really love this look too, you know, you can check it out and get this going. What neutralizes this, if you get it on your hands or spill it, you want to be very careful with it. If you get it in your eyes, you want to really rinse with water, you know, or saline solution. If you get it on your skin, well, soap and water, but you're going to get that stain. Anytime I work with this, I wear gloves, I wear glasses to make sure your eyes are safe. What neutralizes it is baking soda. So make sure you have your baking soda near. So in the directions, they actually say that your solution will, I poured a little bit in here already. It says your solution takes about an hour. Well, I think it powerhouses through for an hour. It just etches that tiny bit on the surface. So if you're doing traditional etching, this will really work perfectly, you know, in an hour. I kept mine in there for like a week and just let that, I don't open it up. Every time you open it up to check on it, you're losing some of the power and strength. So I literally, if I want this all, you know, if I want the etch all the way through and to literally eat out some of the silver, really is like chunking out that silver, I'd keep it in there for a week. So you can see, I just have a small amount. You want to put in a glass container. If you do put this in a metal container, it's going to start expiring and using up. So you always want to use glass. You can use your glass from, you know, just from when you're working at home, opening olives, opening anything like that, you know. These came with the nuts and screws. So I'm only planning on opening this once when I'm all ready. I already poured it in there, so you don't want to open this and close it, open and close it, okay? So that's some of the things. You can get this here, have your baking soda around. I'm gonna show you how I set it up. Ready? Voila. Here's my nice little messy area, but nonetheless, it's gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna take off my gloves for now. I'm not gonna touch my solution. And I just use a little bit of string. This is some wax linen. So I cut 2 pieces. I'm gonna show you, you guys got to see how to create these pieces. So I'm gonna show you how I just attach these and suspend them. And I'm gonna get my glasses on now because this is the time I need it. Okay, I'm just gonna thread them through. I just have a solid bottom. I did solder a loop on here and I'm gonna bring it through. Literally, it's gonna be a free form, just resting in here, the both of them. You can do, really, if I was gonna do this, I would do many at a time. I do many at a time because once you go through this effort, you know, this is gonna take a week. So let's see, 1, 2. Got these going on, might as well do 2 more. I've got 2 more square ones up here that I finished too, but we're just gonna work on circles today. That'll be fun. Nice and fun. And a lot of you guys may know this. Some of you may not. Okay, put my knots in here. Doesn't matter how long your string is. Voila, voila. It's fun just getting into all these different projects, right? I like it. This was a fun one. I was building and building for my jewelry drop. That's going just about went on already. I'm just gonna clip off this back because I don't want it to take up any space. This one I wasn't expecting to etch, but I changed my mind. Okay, gloves back on. I have all 4 of these prepared, my silver pieces, see? Gloves back on. These are so fun. You can use them for your tassels, for your strings, for your anything. I'm gonna open this up. You really wanna be careful. Maybe wear a mask. You don't wanna hover above it and breathe. And just get ready. I don't want it open very long, and then I'm gonna keep it sealed for a month. So I'm gonna just suspend these like this, and I'm going to let them just kind of hover on the side. I don't really want them stuck together, and I don't want them flipped over like this. So I just kind of want them suspended in here. You see how I did that? I'm using the side of the jar, oops, just to suspend these. Okay, some of them are in, some of them are not in. So, okay, I thought I was all a smarty, right guys? Let me open this up again, make sure everybody is suspended. Okay, and even this one here. Good, okay. It's gonna just hit the weakest point. Oh, there's one that is not. Oh my gosh, it's like whenever I get in front of the camera, I swear this is a little easier than I'm making it seem. And before you shut it, I can really pull them to the right size. So say I don't want this all the way suspended in. So you want to get them in there far enough and then just pull them and then finish with your top down. There we go. Okay. Oops, I've got it out. I'm going to show you here. There's my pieces. You could tip it however you need to. I'm going to keep this in here for a week and then I'll show you the results. That's how I did these pieces here. Okay, okay. Like Martha Stewart, I have 2 pieces ready to go, but I want to show you them raw. So, you know, they're pretty raw. I'm going to do a little bit of work to them, but I pulled them out of there. I rinsed them. I scrubbed them with the toothbrush. I threw them into a baking soda solution, and I'm going to say it's a baking soda solution that is probably 2 tablespoons to a cup. And I just let them sit there and tumble around, you know, for, oh my gosh, just like a good, You know, I let them soak for like an hour in there, and I'm pulling them out, and you wanna make sure that you scrub them. So I'm gonna just show you how I work with them. These are neutralized already, so I can take my gloves off. You know, everything's ready, except I don't really, you know, I wanna clean up this shape. It didn't quite etch out everything the way I wanted to. Look at my fingernails, that's from the etching, you guys. So please forgive me in this video today for how tacky my hands look, okay? I'm gonna cut off the edges here. I've got silver to save, right? I can still use the silver. Now, sometimes what I do is I'll just go in and I'll just kind of pull at the edges a little. You can see this. I can really get some beautiful edges, a little bit more raggedy edges if you're looking for that look, you know? Kind of like that idea. This one looks really nice. I like it. This one here, oh, I do kind of like it. I want to get a little bit more raggedy edge here, possibly. So, you know, they do get to be nice and frail, and it's like, it does look cool with the ragged edges. Okay, so these two are a little bit more cleaned up. They're dirty. I am going to put these in my pickle a little bit longer. I'm gonna scrub them up. I'm gonna put a little bit of liver sulfur on these, and I'll just show you how I drill through and I create, you know, an area to hang something from, like these earrings here, okay? So this is on the end of it. We're all with baking soda cleaned up, and I'll come back and I'll have these ready to go and I'll drill them for you. Okay, I wanted to show you this real quick. If you look, you can really see this action happening. They say it's a slow, work slowly. You don't want to open up that top. You can see it's getting all smoky inside there. So, you know, this kind of just really gets in there for about an hour or two, and then you have to just let it sit for a little bit. Just wanted to show you the smokiness and how it's already working. Okay, here's my pieces. Polished them up. You guys can see that beautiful little ragged edges. I'm wearing the finished pieces now, but this is how you could get in and etch up anything, you know, and just kind of drop it in and just see what you'll get randomly, you know, and just try to use the pieces. Sometimes a nice challenge in your work comes when you are just challenged to use the pieces of whatever you create and make. So I have my drill next to me. Let's see if this can reach. Yep, I think I can just reach it over here. I'm using, let me grab my drill because I'm gonna drill through here. But first, before I do that, I'm going to, I'm just using, this is a 20 gauge. You know, you don't wanna use too heavy of a gauge. Actually, I think this is an 18. It's kind of heavy. I'm really gonna need some hot heat if I, you know, go through here. But I'm gonna draw a bead on each of the ends. So let me get my torch up and going. I'm gonna get it nice and hot. Hang on a second. Okay. Get my pliers. Get a nice bead drawn. I'm gonna need 2 of them. So I might as well get a nice bead drawn on this end too. You wanna be nice and steady. I'm a little bit wobbly. When you're drawing a bead, did you notice if you're wobbly, it doesn't work so well. Okay, what are these for? These are to go straight through. So I'm just gonna cut, I think I'm just gonna cut it in the middle. I usually don't like to waste any wire at all. So I've got 2 ends that I can push through. Put this over here. Okay, got my drill, and I'm gonna drill straight through. Oh, you know what? I think I've got a 52 bit in here, but I just changed my mind. I wanna put in a nice little 60 bit. This is nice, you know, or anything in between. 52 is what I use for my rivets. So sometimes it's a little much when you're, you know, doing a different project. Okay, all right, I'm just gonna go straight through. You wanna put this through, I think you guys can know how to drill. I know it's a little farther away today, but the other part of the project is close up. So here I am with my drill. I'm just gonna drill like right here. Same spot on both of them, because I can. Mine are made pretty similar. There's my drill holes. And I'm of course have you closer for the making the boxes. Okay, now what I want to do, I actually have some twisted wire, and I'm going to draw a bead on each of these, and you will see why. I don't want a large bead drawn now. I don't want a large bead drawn. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is with my round pliers, I'm gonna take this is just that regular twist, really reserve a little spot right here, because I'm gonna actually get this set up before I draw my bead in here, and you'll see. Actually, I really don't, you know what I realized when I do this, guys? Hang on. I'm gonna back this up a little. What I do love is to have a long length, bring it down, have kind of a long loop. What, like an inch loop? And then start doing this wrap, because now you'll get to see the wrap. So it's gonna look like this. And I usually will end up taking out. See how nice and big that loop is? This is gonna be nice because when I go through, I can insert this in here. And I have you guys up close. I mean, I don't have you so close because I want you to see the overall picture. Not quite getting it in the hole for some reason. Okay, it's really easy to thread through here with a big loop. Voila! Plus, you really get to see that nice little knot, and it's not hurting your movement at all. Okay, so see, I have that through, coming through the other side. I want to leave, this is, you know, I can hang something heavy on here with an 18 gauge, but I'm gonna leave probably about, you want to leave enough so you can get this up and going. So I've got about an inch. Okay, let me get this dipped in. Ooh, this is actually a nice way to hold it with this right here. I'm gonna actually hold this up in the air right like this, and you guys will get to see how this bead will draw. You just need a hot heat. If you don't have acetylene or something like that, what you'd want to do is use your MAP gas, like 100% MAP gas. I think I'm gonna hold this with pliers though. I can apply as much heat to this as I want because it's all metal here. There's no beads, let me get this up. Just smoking a little from the liver sulfur. Maybe draw it a little bit here. Actually, that's a nice amount. I like that. Smoking from the liver sulfur. I guess I should have waited to clean this all up, right, guys? So anyway, there we go. I'm going to clean it up a little. This one's going to go back into the pickle. You draw a bead on here. And of course, I try to do a lot of this assembly style. I'm going to do one more just in case you guys need to see. Sometimes you can't see as well with the first one. Okay, remember I'm making a big loop. I know you could rewind if you wanted to. Keeping a big loop there, bringing it around, but sometimes you can see better with one over the other when it's done twice. Voila. Okay, so that's gonna go right inside here. And I've got my other piece drawn. It's always fun to see things twice, right guys? Earrings, you always have to do things twice. And it's kind of fun to make pieces different, even if they're earrings. I remember always being like, oh my God, I'd make one earring and then I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to make the whole other earring. So I really learned to, when I'm working on earrings, just to do both of them at the same time, makes things much, much easier. Okay, get this nice and hot. Get my piece adjusted here. Okay, and I'll let you guys watch this one more time. Whoop, we don't want to put the flame towards you, so let's go this way. You guys can see it right from there. How fun. There it goes. This one's nice and easy. You can see the liver of sulfur getting hot, and voila. Beautiful. That's exactly what you want. I'm gonna dip it in here, and wherever I have liver of sulfur, the pickle will not hurt. So I'm gonna get it wet, get it in here, and I will show you the end results, all polished up. And actually, I'm wearing the pair. Why not? So you guys can see with my thread right here, you can attach anything that you want to attach to it. And there's a close-up of the photo. So you guys be the judge of what you want to attach in your work to the ends of this, okay? I've got more hollow forms, more prayer boxes. These are always blessed and put prosperity or you know, some other type of energy into here. So I hope you guys have fun with this technique. Just kind of organically random and fun, and sometimes that's kind of what you need in life is just a way to be surprised how your work comes out, right? Okay, enjoy. Okay, this is to build a hollow form and what we're gonna need. So I'm gonna build one small because we don't need them too big. Again, you guys, pardon my fingers. Remember I was talking about the etching part of this that you'll get to see in a little bit. Okay, this one is a fine silver band. I use this for other reasons. If you guys wanna look, there's another hollow form in here, and it's where I really am doing a lot of undercuts, and I'm using this hollow form. Your original piece is going to be a pretty organic look, you know? So it's a beautiful organic look. So we're gonna actually start with just doing the circular of, you know, just a circle shape, and we're gonna put this down. I'm gonna use a sterling silver rather than a fine. You could even decide if you wanna do a really thick band too. But for me, it's like, I'm just gonna use this size, keep it simple. You can start by just kind of bringing this end around. If you like a perfect circle, you would just find a form to curve it around. You know, for me, it's like, I always just like these kind of random shapes. Although this one is pretty much nice, like a nice circle. I want to get this a little smaller, and it doesn't have to be an exact circle either, but circles are the easiest to do in this case. Maybe mine will be an oval. That'll be nice. Okay. The ones that I made for etching, as you guys will see, are smaller, and for my earrings, but I'm going to do a little larger size here. Okay. Get my scissors, and I want to put a marker on here for my exact cut, exact straight cut, which will be right here. The nice thing is we don't have to be exact because we really are doing a hollow form, right? Okay, there we go. Now, I'm gonna bring these two ends together, make sure they're nice and flat. It doesn't matter, my shape does not matter right now. I just really need to line things up, and this is how I get things lined up. If I need to file in any way, I'm gonna have to get in here and file. I want this to be spring loaded, so I didn't really anneal these. You can see there's a serrated edge on here. So I'm gonna get in and I'm gonna do a little bit of filing. You're gonna wanna file this up against a straight edge, so I'm gonna do that here. Just a little bit on each end. These have been some of my favorite things to do lately. Oh my gosh, I get excited and I miss hollow forms if I can't get to it. Okay, there we go. Whoop. Okay. As you guys can see, sometimes it's not always just perfect and easy just to get your edges to meet. They're nice and straight now, but it really is a nice balancing act of getting them perfect. this is kind of what it's about. The larger your piece is, the little bit more trouble you have in lining it up. That looks really good. I've got it nice and lined up. I'm gonna dip the whole piece in flux. I wanna make sure it stays where it's supposed to. It looks good. Get my pick. As you can see how I set up my table, I've got some hard, medium, easy. So I'm gonna start with the hard. So let me get my torch and get this end sealed up with a hard. And then really is just, oops, I've got it turned up super high from drawing a bead. And I'm just gonna get in here. I think you guys could see this. Wait, I'm just gonna grab some of this right here. Try to get it where you guys could see it as much as possible. When you're working with this big of a form, it's kind of important to heat up your whole piece. You don't always have to, but grab my hard again. As I'm talking, I lost it. And this is just in sterling silver, so you know I'm not gonna have that much trouble. I already have my solder treated with, there we go, okay. Got my edge on here. Take this and quench it. I've got a little solder spot here, but I am really sealed here on the inside. You know, here's where I really want to make sure that my shape is good. Oh, you guys know how I don't like perfect. So I'm gonna keep mine as that. And then you're just gonna lay your piece down. We don't need this piece. I'm just gonna lay this down and make sure I have a nice edge on here. You want this to look white on this side. So I'm just gonna circulate it, get this going, have it nice and white. I love the shape of it. It's gonna lay right down in here. Let me get my spray. Where do I have my spray? Well, I didn't prepare my spray. Usually I have a spray too, so I'm just gonna put down, I'm gonna need a spray because this actually, maybe I'll dunk this whole piece in here. You can see I'm gonna sand off the top of it since I don't have a spray. There's two ways you can do things. See, this is actually repelling water, but if you have a spray, you just spray a couple times once you get going. If you need to, you just get in here and sand this, and this is gonna actually absorb any of this liquid that I put on here, and it'll be a lot easier to work with. So you'll see. Just really see how that stays on here? Makes a big difference so it doesn't ball up. So I'm gonna do that. Oh, look at how nice and flush that is. I like to save room around the edges in case I want to put something on the second layer. So if anything, I have a bigger piece on the second layer, and I'm just gonna get this warmed up. Where do I have my spritzer, huh? Oh, here's my spritzer. This one might be pretty condensed, but let's do that. Just a little bit of spritz. I use my medium. So I've got my medium here. You guys can see how I'm going to, this isn't actually sprayed inside here. This doesn't have flux on it. So I'm just gonna drop some pieces in here. Oops, there's a few that are a little big in my cutting. I love using these. You don't have to worry too much about getting it exactly around your piece. You can use it like a wire. It's gonna travel your solder. So now what I'm gonna do is get in here this way and just really get into my edges and push it up. It's important to have them up against the edges. I don't wanna put on too much flux again because it's gonna make my solder jump. But see how that's nice and secure around the edges. And I am going to work, you always want to work on the edge of a screen. So I'm going to very carefully bring this over. You want to work on the edge because I can really get some nice heat in there. And again, I'm going to work with this annealing. So I'm going to get up under like this. I want to get up under. I'm heating up my board. I know I'm talking so quietly today. I don't know why. You can see there's a lot of solder that's gathered up against that edge, but that's okay. I'm gonna get this hot enough where I can just bring that solder around and have no worries. So I'm hitting 90% of the board on the bottom at this point, or actually I'm not hitting any around my bezel wire. It's all on the bottom. And once I get this hot enough, and since this is sterling silver, I know I can jump to the inside of my circle too. So I basically can hit my edges, hit the inside, and only be, see how that's going around beautifully? There we go. Only because it's all sterling silver. If this was fine silver, I'd have other things to worry about. Okay, one end done. One and done. You want to just let it cool off a little bit. I'm going to quench this in water. Okay. Voila. So the next thing I want to do, let's see if you guys can see this again, just a nice simple technique. I'm just going to get this side nice and flat now. The way you know it's nice and flat is if all the edges are white. And I'm on a real hot part of the board, but I'm just trying to, it's a hot part of the board, but I'm just trying to show you guys everything I'm doing, and I see you can still see this end of it, so that's good. This is the top, so sometimes, you know, it's nice sometimes to build it up with whatever you want to build it up with. This is getting so nice and flat. I can always test it right like this. Look at how beautiful and closed this will be. So, normally, if you guys weren't here watching, I would cut it with the jeweler saw, and I think I still might. I'm just gonna take a little break, cut it with the jeweler saw. You get a better edge on here, okay? This is the piece. I actually had it in pickle. I sanded the sides. You need it as flush as possible, even if you decide to put any decoration on the side. It's important to do this seal first, because this is going to be the top, and I can add anything else I want to later. So, you know, like I'll show you one of the pieces actually, even though we're working on the etching, you know, here's just a different idea. This one I did the other day. So anyway, I'll put it here. So this one, also the next important thing to do is just to put a little drill hole into here. So let me drill this real quick. I'm just using a 60 bit. Getting it right in the center. You guys know I'm going to do that etching. So, you have to have a hole in there so it can release any pressure as you're joining this all together. It's the water, it's the wetness in here. So you may possibly be able to do this without, you know, worrying about this exploding on you, if you could get it perfectly dry. But I'm not going to worry about getting it perfectly dry. You know, that would be drying it off with this, getting your flux on there, drying it off, and then getting your solder on and keeping it perfectly dry. It's the wetness that builds up in here and really makes your piece explode. So you have to be super careful. Get a little bit more on here. Why not? Okay, nice size. I'm gonna have fun with the shape. And then I am gonna just grab some medium right from the container. Sometimes it's the easiest. Oops, there's too big of a piece right there. What are we gonna do about that big piece? Let me get this out of here. That's why I love my pliers. Looks like a little piece of steel or something kind of nasty. I don't want that in there. So I always put down an excess and then go around and correct it, spread it out. That's the way I do things. Sometimes I'm super tight against the edge. So I'll just have to rely on pulling the solder around if I'm tied up against an edge like that. And I'll show you what I mean once I get going. Just to get different techniques and little tips each time, right guys? Okay, let me see if I can get these back up on here. I don't want my screen and I don't want to waste solder. So let's get these back up. Okay. All right, now I can take my flux and make sure everything is up against the edge, which is exactly where it's gonna work. I don't want any solder going up the top of my bezel. Why? because then I've got solder on the bezel band instead of where it's supposed to be. I don't mind a little extra solder because my hopes would be to attach some wire around the side. So a little extra for me, solder is always good. There. Then I'll get a wire attached. This is the back plate. So let's do that. Remember, I've got my hole on the other side. Okay. Start from far away. Where's my pickup? Sometimes I move things. Here it is. This is going to be better for me. My pick. Okay, get this nice and warmed up. Get up under here. Get my screen nice and hot. Get my fire brick nice and hot. This I really am going to have to work from under. For 90% of it, I need to work under my hollow form. And the reason being is that I don't want this solder crawling up the side of my bezel wire or even reaching the top. So I really need to stay on this base plate and get it hot under. And I see my solder is starting to go. Now I can get in, see how it actually needs to get up around here. I do have a little bit of a mess on my plate, but if I can get this hot up here now, that's going to work out good. But like I said, I didn't mind because I'm really going to be attaching. Now, one of my things that I love to do is the tinning and getting wire attached, getting, you know, just different decorations attached. But this one, I'm actually cutting off the base plate as I showed you in the beginning. And I am doing the etching. So here we go. That's all you need to know. I'm going to cut this off and I'll just show you a picture of my piece when I have it finished. And voila. So I want to show you just a little soldering. I'm actually going to use a I'm actually just going to use an easy solder because I'm going to attach, this is one of the rings that I made from just a lot of scrap, and I put it together, and I just actually want to get this right in the center of this disc right here, and then I'm going to rivet some pieces on. So this is just the beginning part of it. So when I have like an uneven surface of a ring like this, what I want to do is, I want some of the best parts to face up. Like this actually sits beautifully, but to me, this is the prettiest part of the ring. So I could actually go back in and rebend it in different ways, but I found a spot right here that works beautifully, that I really like. So I'm going to actually solder this right in this way. That fits perfectly. So let me mark my area with a marker right here. Is where I need to put my solder, and then I'm going to mark right in the center of where I'm soldering onto. It just makes things easy. You can solder on top of marker because permanent marker, actually just only on top of permanent marker, this is not dirty. This isn't considered dirty, and you'll get a nice clean solder. So I'm just spritzing some flux on. Oops, doesn't that always happen? Okay, I'm just spritzing some flux on right here. And oops, that's a little much, but don't worry. And I'm gonna dry it up. I like to put solder on both areas of my piece. I just do. I'm actually gonna use an easy. I'm doing some pick soldering. If you haven't seen pick soldering before, this is one of my very favorites. I'm just grabbing a little piece right here, and I'm gonna put it onto the center. Since I have a ring, let me pull it over to this side. See how it actually flowed a little bit too much on one side? So if I have a ring that has a few different pieces and parts to it, I need to make sure I get it all covered. This ring is fused and it has a lot of uneven parts to it. I'm just going to put on a little extra right where it needs to sit. Right in there. There we go. Okay. Now I got my locking pliers. And it doesn't matter with this piece. You can see I just want to make sure I have clearance exactly where I want it. And I can still see my solder now. And I'm going to set this right here. So what I always do, the screen creates heat for me. I'm going to heat up the piece on the bottom. I'm going to heat up the piece on the top. My top piece will need 70% of the heat, and the bottom piece needs about 20%. Well, there we go. You know, it's so interesting with easy solder because easy solder just really flows before you even know it. It's the quickest solder. So what am I doing with this piece? I'll show you when I'm done. I'm going to actually do a beautiful riveted piece on the top of it. So all I need is this base plate. I'll show you more later.